So welcome everybody, and good having you here. We're actually here live from the GCC. I'm in Dubai, and first of all, a warm welcome to the ladies on my right, being live here with me, and the ladies, of course, virtually out there in the world, from all over the world, actually. And we're going to discuss the role of women in the tech industry today and tomorrow, and beyond, I would say. So very blessed to be here. We have only one guy in the audience, so let's see what happens. So again, a very warm welcome, and I'll give you a quick minute to introduce yourself. And if I may start with you, Priyanka, please. Welcome.
Hello, I'm the Executive Director at Bankai Group of Companies. I oversee the technology vertical for telecom technology and financial technology. And today I'm going to give my keynote speech. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you very much, and nice having you, Priyanka. And we'll hear more from you from your keynote presentation. So thank you for that already. So let's stay in the US. Was it Connecticut, Sophie?
Yes, only for the day. Usually it's New York, so usually I'm closer to Priyanka. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for having me again. And my name is Sophie and Therese. I am the founder and the executive chairman now of a consulting firm with a network of innovation lab across the world that is called 265 Global Lab. We are focused on helping tech company transform, position themselves, go with how everything is progressing. And we've worked over the years with startup and also with some of the largest companies, Tata, Vodafone, and the like.
Thank you very much, and good having you, Sophie. So let's go over the Atlantic, and I think Aisha, Oman.
Hello everyone, this is Aisha Al-Kharousi. I am Senior Manager National Accounts and Interconnection in Wholesale at Untitled. Untitled is one of the leading, actually it is a leading telecom operators in Oman. I'm very glad to have you all in this wonderful platform, which I'm very excited for it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here, Aisha. So I think to Germany, Susanne.
Okay, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Susanne Adler, and I work for Deutsche Telekom, the leading telco operator in Germany. And in detail, I work for Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier. Joined this team in July, but have been working for Deutsche Telekom for 20 years now. And happy to be here today to discuss the topic women in tech, because on the one hand, I work in a company that has 35% of women in it, but in my team, which is the marketing team, by the way, we have a well-balanced situation between men and women, so I can speak from both perspectives, and I'm happy to share with you and get your insights. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Susanna. Thank you. So let's fly a little bit further, and from Germany to Dubai to be here live with me. So Noah, I think I would almost say live from Amsterdam, but live from Amsterdam in Dubai. So a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. And first of all, Eric, I really want to compliment you for being here with all these ladies. It shows that there is a brave man here for your courage. My name is Noha Khalifa. I joined AM6 2 years ago. I'm responsible, my focus is the MENA region. So I'm here and I hope to set up meetings, one-to-one meetings with everybody to discuss the opportunities in the Middle East. And one of the things why I joined AM6 is because the amount of the percentage of women at AM6 is 42%. Compare that to my background where I come from, which is the IT business. And yeah, it was very nice to see this amount of people here.
Well, that's the Dutch are brave, if I may say so. So thank you, Noah, and thank you for your nice words. Really, really nice. Thank you. So Sabina, last but not least, but please.
Hello to everyone. My name is Sabina Mayrich, and I'm a Chief Commercial Officer at Horizon. It's a Swiss company. I would say that I'm leading a team of really diverse team of salespeople in the tech industry. And I'm really proud of every and each of them. So ladies force in our team is quite well known.
Okay, thank you so much. So everybody here and out there in the world, you know what this panel discussion is all about, and I'm very honored to give Priyanka the floor to do a quick presentation, and we're more than happy to listen to you what you have to share with us. So Priyanka, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eric. So as we are here today to discuss the role of women in the tech industry today and tomorrow, I'm going to reflect on some of the things that have come forward since our last panel discussion last year, and over the years since we have started opening this dialogue across the board, across the industries. And in the next, I would like to first start with the agenda today. Laura, if you can go to the slide 3, that would be great. Thank you. Today we will discuss women's stand in the space of opportunity and recognition. What does the future hold, and how diversity can help optimize our efforts in achieving balance? How to approach integration, retention of talent, while inspiring a new generation of women to join us in the journey of equality. And the answers we are looking to find in the sessions are: what are we looking forward to? Is it possible to see the projected numbers after we put in the effort for women to bring balance to a very gender-heavy tech industry and corporate environment? What does the timeline look like, and what can we do to expedite the process? And next, to begin with that, I would like to start with understanding the diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we always talk about how, you know what, let's have DEI programs across the corporate. Let's talk about DEI like we are talking today, but what does it really mean? So just as a dictionary method would be, diversity and inclusion are two interconnected concepts, but not interchangeable. Diversity is about representation or makeup of an equity, an entity, and inclusion is about how well the contributions, presence, and perspective of different groups of people are valued and integrated into an environment. And a few common misconceptions when understanding diversity and inclusion is, if a problem is not immediately visible, then it must not be an issue, where we think that just because we have faced something differently and we don't see anyone else facing it the same way or tackling it the same way, they might not be really having an issue, and we ignore the obvious signs. Diversity of thought is good enough. That's another misconception. We have to walk the talk. So whatever we are talking today, we really have to integrate that in our day-to-day life. Just thought is not good enough. In the next, I would like to cover why gender diversity in tech is important, and why are we even talking about it today? So let us first understand, why are we talking about bringing more women in tech segments? As a study from Catalyst suggests that companies with the most women in leadership positions perform 53% better financially in terms of return and equity. When companies perform better overall, their success translates into job growth, increased profits, investments, progress, and innovation. More roles are being filled by females, and information technology leads to better organization outcomes. Job growth for women in tech could mean more women are more likely to influence their company and its culture, which is, again, why we are here today. So when you hire a diversity, you onboard different methods and strategies of thinking, and those different mind challenges each other to think outside the box, because ultimately your end consumer is going to be diverse. You're not only targeting a man, you're targeting everyone. And in the next question, in the next slide, there's going to be a short poll question before we move on to other concerns and impact. It's, what do you believe makes a comfortable working environment? A, organization with like-minded people, unbiased hiring process, diversity in top management, comfortable discussions about background, beliefs, and culture, or in experiences with colleagues. don't think there is a poll set up over here, but if you can just leave your answers for poll question 1 with A, B, C, and D in chat, that would be great. We will publish it on LinkedIn later on. And to move into the next slide, I'm rushing through because we have less time. But there's a lot to talk about, and I hope this dialogue continues. So the concern to this whole diversity, equity, and inclusion, and why gender diversity in tech, and why we are talking is, when in June 2021, Fortune reported that there was a new record of female CEOs in Fortune 500 list, it was a moment of high, like, wow, right? Karen Lynch at CVS Health stands number 4 in this year's list, making history as a head of the highest ranked Fortune 500 company ever led by a woman. For the first time, 2 Black women, Rose Brewer from Walgreens and Tazunda Brown Duckett from TIAA, are serving as CEOs at the same time. Jane Fresser at Citigroup is making history as the first woman to helm a major US bank. However, in spite of 41 amazing women being on this list, they only make 8% of female representation. Nevertheless, 2021 is of the many firsts, but it's not a moment of high just yet. We are only representing 8% of the entire list. And moving to next, we're going to discuss the gender gap in the industry. In 2020, only 25% of GAFAN's employees are female. Only 37% of tech startups have at least 1 woman on board of directors. And the ratios of men to women in engineering is 5 to 1. We are only starting to touch the tipping point. There's a long way to go for us to get the equilibrium. On the next slide, we'll discuss about the hurdle race to the top. 71% of women who have worked in tech company with male-dominated environments have felt excluded, unsafe, and uncomfortable. Only about 25% of jobs in technology are held by women in 2021. So still a progress, like I said, 2021 has been many firsts, but it's still only 25%. We have at least 25% more to go. 36% of females in tech say they haven't seen any efforts of their companies to close the gender gap. Touching the point, diversity is not only a thought, we really have to work in it. 58% of women are concerned about the venture capital funding gap. Less than 2% of this VC funds of those companies get funding. Almost 20% of the women say there is an obvious discrimination over there. The list is long. However, research also shows that women hold less than 10% of all leadership positions in technology. 19% of women hold tech senior vice president roles, while 50% hold CEO positions. There is a hurdle, there is a race to the top, and we all need to work together, and we really need to ramp up to fail. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next slide. There is a societal gender stereotype that women must do XYZ and men must do ABC. And anything that COVID has taught us, co-living in the same house, working at the same time, it's our family, it's our work. We actually share the chores and handle it together. Let's not forget what we learned this year and really carry on further. And let's remember, men and women, they both have to do ABC and XYZs. Women are missing mentors. Not many women take mentorship, not many apply to be mentored. Other times, mentees just choose mentors with similarities, thus missing out the whole learning curve. Lack of representations and role models, gender bias and degradatory behavior in the workplace. It's very funny when a woman applies for a job, she wants to be prepared 100% for the role. When a man applies for a job, he's fine with 60%. He knows 40% can be winged apart. And that's unfair. That is something that we need to change, even as a company and even as women ourselves. It's okay to fail. It's okay to just try and go for it and wing it at times. Unequal growth opportunities with male co-workers, perfection over potential, education. We have to find out why women are not pursuing more master's degree and more doctoral degrees. There is an obvious gender wage gap. And the next slide, I'm going to cover about a brief on diversity and its needs. When in June 2021, Fortune reported the Fortune 500 list, 41 amazing leaders were like female representatives. However, there are a couple of things that we really need to focus on, and some of the lists that we can follow in order to fulfill this need, such as ADA's list, Black Girls Code, Girls Develop It, Girls Who Code, Tech Women, Women in Technology International. And today, like we are talking, we need to really come up together. And Sophie, we need to meet beyond this panel discussion being in New York to really make these things happen, and not only on the screens. In the next slide, I'm going to touch the points on the impact of all these efforts. The impact can only be achieved by becoming allies. Eric and other gentlemen in the room, thank you so much for being over here. Thank you for being our ally. And just to let you know, everyone, ally is not same as a friend. Allies need to educate themselves. Their lack of knowledge isn't the minority's burden. Allies support each other regardless of the bias, regardless of the differences. We hold each other on the top, we fill in the differences, and we teach each other. And I'm about to end, but before that, I would like to head to the poll question 2, the next slide. And I would like to know your answers. What behavior from the leadership makes you feel that inclusive culture is being prioritized? Sense of belonging, fair promotion and appraisal process, acceptance of your social and cultural background, attitude towards discrimination and harassment. Like before, please drop your answers in the chat. Poll is not yet up. We would love to get your answers. We'll put it up on LinkedIn. Thank you. The next slide, very briefly, what women in technology want. What is this whole fuss about, right? And you might think it's easy answer. This is what practically every employee wants: men, women, gender, special ables, or any other. On the top of the motivating factors for women in technology is the opportunity to do meaningful work, to be recognized. Giving employees the chance to work on passion projects is one way to keep them engaged and excited about the work they are doing. The work towards diversity doesn't stop at hiring. Iteration should be addressed through different levels of training, support, including mentorship and sponsorship programs, which HR management should collaborate on. Flexible work schedules. Again, COVID has taught us this meaningful lesson, right? We all have responsibilities, men and women both. So let's really, let's be also fair with men, and let's eradicate this gender bias and have flexible work schedule, be more understanding towards the responsibility and childcare support and so forth. In the next slide, I'm going to cover the last but not the least, a fair and diverse future. Active investments by many companies to bring girls to pursue STEP is very important. Hire from invested institutes. Bring diversity to decision-making. It's important your end customer is diverse. Make space for women to lead, listen to employees, offer anonymity, create awareness around equality. It is not asking for generosity. It is basic, it is normal. Not being equal is abnormal. We are talking about normal things here, right? Take risks, ask questions when there are no women or diversity in the corporate structures. Hold management responsible. And in the next slide, I'm just going to touch this very quickly. There needs to be a change in mindset. Only women, how many times have you heard this and didn't question it? become an ally. Just don't think and say things in support and show support. Like really do things. Like Eric is sitting in the room here amongst all the women to really talk about this topic. Become an ally. Get offended, but for the right reasons. Correct the wrong and help others understand where you're coming from. Don't be mom. Character trait assessments. Create a friendly environment. Equality in assignments, involve everyone, trade to hire to train, provide access to role models, sponsors, and mentors. And the last slide, individual contribution towards the cause. Intervene, negotiate, explore unconscious bias, encourage. Speak up, and speak up. Talk, converse. It's okay if you're wrong. It's okay if it backfires. It's okay if you fail. We have rights to fail. We have rights to learn from it. And it's a constant unlearning and relearning process. Let's do it. And as I end with my keynote speech, I really wanted to thank every woman and every man who has worked so hard over the years, from right to vote to today. We can actually bring normalcy back in the track of equality and diversity. I would like to thank my parents for letting me know that just because I'm a woman, I cannot do something is not true. You can do anything as long as you're a good human being. And I would like to thank amazing female colleagues who work with me. And I would like to name out 2 female colleagues. Neha Mashruwala and Mansi Malasi. I couldn't have done this keynote or many of the things in my busy schedule without your support. You 2 are the epitome of the female colleagues, and the way you really set out the whole narrative and bring my vision and bring all the vision of the women in the company together. Thank you so much for doing your parts. And thank you for having me over here today.
Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you for your presentation, what you shared, the content, but foremost, I would say the passion about this subject. So thank you very much. And while I'm talking, I think that not the crowd here, but the crowd out there on the World Wide Web is clapping their hands. So I just give you five seconds for it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. So thank you very much. You're giving an overview of what's going out there. What's happening currently in the world, and especially with regards to this topic, the role of women in the tech industry. You mentioned that already, and so let me go to Sophie. Can you, from your point of view, what do you see? What is, I wouldn't call it landscape because it's not respectful enough. But what do you see around you? What do you sense? What do you feel? Even if it's not talked about, because this is a topic as well. But you sense it, and I have to say, women sense far more than men. So, Sophia,
you see, that's a little bit of a bias right there, Eric. What we see is, how relevant those panels are. I mean, this is I've been speaking with Priyanka and different group of women for the past couple of years, far more frequently that I have in the last 30 years. So I think it's a major success just right there. I think, Priyanka, I think you're way younger than I am. And what I think is beautiful, what we're seeing is much younger in their career. Women are taking action to really support even younger women. And I think that's also a massive development. I think when I started, it was like, how do I get somewhere and then help? Versus today, it's like, I am in and I'm going to start helping from the get-go. And I think that is definitely part of the solution. What's really interesting is we are talking here because we're a carrier community about women in telco. But I'm on panel for women in banking who are challenged by fintech, and women in AI, and women in biotech. It's the same situation everywhere. Where I think women in technology and in telecom are even more pertinent and powerful is that tech is not just an industry; it's everything. And women in banking, for example, are very, very threatened by the advance of fintech. And they're like, I am not in technology, what should I do? So I think there's also another movement, which is everybody can be in tech by empowering the next generation and empowering yourself with tech. Like I'm taking an AI class, I have no clue what it's talking about, but like try to continue to be part of tech. And I think that's another attitude that's changing a lot of organizations, and women are really leading it. So it's very exciting.
Thank you, Sophia. So let's move here in live in Dubai. Sabina, what do you see around you? What is there any specific things that you say? Well, you know what you would like to share with the panel?
I would say that I see, especially in the last 10 years, a huge lack in tech of talents. And as we make 50% of the population, we make 50% of talents. So I don't see a reason why we would not be 50% of sales, C-level force, tech force, any kind of force, because at the end we are here. We are the professionalism, or being a professional should not have a gender or I don't know, nationality of anything else. So if you are the best person for a job, then take the job, be there. And in many things, we can be better than men. So I see that we are just coming as 50% of population, we are coming to fulfill 50% of the jobs.
Okay, cool. In tech, I think in everything, right?
Yes.
Well, that's my personal take on it. So, Susanna, let me go over to you. How can a diverse workplace or diverse workplaces lead to higher productivity, greater innovation, and higher achievement? And if so, can you share some examples or experience you have or you heard of, or?
Yeah,
Please.
of course. Thanks, Eric. Well, I think the formula for diversity is, in the first view, as simple as obvious, isn't it? To have diverse teams mean to have more different perspectives and that derive from different backgrounds, education, and yeah, you have various mindset there, and this enables all the teams to really look at projects or challenge it or whatever from different angles, and yeah, this paves the way for more creative and broader solutions. And this is why I say, yes, of course, diverse workplaces lead to higher productivity and greater innovation. And when you look at studies, like you, Priyanka, already did as well, I found a study from McKinsey, delivering through diversity. And there was said again, and as well, that there is a 34% higher likelihood of achieving above average goals and profits for companies when they have diverse teams and when they have more diverse executives and employees and so on. So that all completely underlines what we are saying. And when you ask for my personal experiences or examples, it starts in the teams. For example, we took over an all-employee call internally, and it was done by a colleague, and he was very straight and tough and full of facts, and rational things. And then we had to take over this topic, and I gave it to a female colleague, and she said, yeah, it's a great concept. I would like to add something like, yeah, letting all the people that listen to us participate, and adding a few more cultural topics, and then let the speakers be women and men as well. So, and we did that, and the next call got very, very good feedback in terms of, now I feel really integrated. I feel as part of the team, and yeah, you spoke to me, please continue like that. And this was, yeah, on the one hand, the experience of the guy who did it before, and added, we just added something, and this was yeah, the diverse part of it. And yeah, it's a small experience only, but I think it shows already the big picture, isn't it?
No, absolutely, and I think it's It's a nice example, and thank you for sharing. So Noah, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I agree with Susanna that many reports have shown that diversity in the company helps for better performance, better talented people to recruit talented people. And also, if I see we are all here sitting together, and the young generation, if I see also diversity has been said, everything's been already said about diversity in a company, but I have a daughter, she's 20 years old, and if I see the young generation, this kind of setting will not, maybe in 10 years, we might have men in tech, not women in tech, but men in tech, because I believe—
I'm in pension then, and you understand this, right? Just throwing a curveball.
No, I think that there is a change coming, and don't forget that not so long ago in the Netherlands in 1960, women were not allowed to go to university, not to all the universities. So step by step, we're getting there, and which will help companies to be more diverse with women in the leading position. But also, if you see the borders here global, we can work all over the globe. So diversity will also have companies.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm waiting for that. But why in 10 years? Why not next week? Men in tech, because then we know that we help everything, right, to a better place. Anyway, Aisha, from your point of view, what are the key challenges that women are facing in the tech or telco industry?
Well, Eric, I believe before getting into the challenges, I would like to, share some of the factors, important factors that needs to be considered. I agree that even if we haven't seen as much progress as we would like over the years, but I still remain an optimist. Industry have recognized that there were some issues related to the perceptions on the women capabilities, which have been treated on urgency as it deserves. One of the ways organizations started to adopt in order to overcome on the gender balances is through the diversity and inclusions strategies, in which the powerful women in this platform have already highlighted. Give an example of these organizations on my side. I'm coming from the telecom sectors, specifically working in Untitled, where I proudly say that Untitled is fully committed to embracing diversity and inclusion in every aspect of our operations. Putting people first, accepting and celebrating differences have always been at the top of our agenda and provided a foundations for our success. Now, getting to the challenges, when we look to the past, there were more challenges women faced, which have been highlighted in different platforms. Only as Priyanka, mentioned in her presentations, due to the stereotypes, discriminations in the workplace, less gender balances in the organizations, and lack of the role models in these industries. However, it is worth to mention that organizations and people have begun to recognize the issues regarding the gender differences in these sectors and have started to make an effort toward dimensioning it. I would like to give you an example of myself, where I am purely economist. When I joined telecom sector since 14 years, I had no knowledge of the world of the communications and technology. Frankly speaking, I had no passion for technology. I realized that over the years of my work in this industry, one of the growth challenge actually is to how to gain the technical knowledge, which is very crucial for the success to grow. I felt the only challenge could be to prove myself in the technology field is myself, in which, other than this, I don't believe organizations or people nowadays perceptions actually can stop me toward the success in this industry. Today, I am playing a senior manager role in the telecom sector after, my passions for the technology and gaining technical knowledge through examples of the role models behind me, mentorship program, coaching program, and some diversity training on the technical side. So from my humble story, I would say the lack of women with the passion for technology is the main challenge nowadays. And women have shown, but on the other hand, women have shown after, hard decisions to take a leap of faith in order to make it in a still male dominant world, I would say. Having said that, women have noticed that in the majority of the situation, the industry have changed for the better on her side. Another example I would like to share in my region, in the past, we have seen, 70% male and 30% female are graduating from the technology and engineering schools. But today, it is witnessed that the number of the female students from the technology and communications are about equal to the male. So young women starting their careers in the technology have already overcome numerous hurdles, women around the world, and have been able to bring a new perspective to the tech industry, and their skills and experience are just as valuable when they feel when they feel actually comfortable enough to impose them. So actually we have, okay, there is a not much progress as what we're expecting in terms of the number, of the women in the tech and telco industry. But we have seen, good progress in terms of the number of the women leadership or other fields in these industries. And we have to celebrate on this progress, that the number of women in the leadership position, if it is not yet equal today with the male colleagues, but it is in these industries increasing compared to before. I believe we should not only highlight about the women role in technical leadership positions, but it is also worth to mention that women have proved her technical capabilities and skills under different roles, where we can see women as a site engineers, where they are visiting technical fields. Her role is remarkable in ICT, IT, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, and women are also playing crucial roles in different positions as a project manager, which requires technical knowledge in these industries and understanding to manage a variety of technical projects associated to this industry. Over the years, I believe, and I saw you also believe with me, every one of us has witnessed an increasing number of the women becoming engineers, researchers, and experts in the telecom industry. So
cool. That was a cool statement, Aisha. Thank you so much. Priyanka, you want to comment on it, or you want to add something?
Yes, to what everyone spoke, and Aisha, to what you spoke, I totally agree that, companies are ramping up, industry is ramping up, everything is changing as it should be normal. But at this point, I think it's becoming less about if we have space at those levels or not, but more about how we support women, as a women, like women supporting women, how we are coming across and how we are actually representing our talent. Recently, I was interviewing someone, amazing talent. She was great. She multitasked. She has this experience in the industry. I was really looking forward to interview her. Just jumped on the interview, and myself and my male colleague, and we could actually see she's so nervous. She's rambling. I'm asking her something. She's saying something. And her resume, her experience doesn't say that. And I called her up personally, one-to-one. I was like, forget the interview. I'm just calling you from one woman to another woman. Were you nervous? It's like, yeah, I was. Like, why? It's like, I was supposed to interview someone else. You jumped in, you are the boss, etc., etc., etc. I was like, why were you nervous? It's okay if you would have answered something wrong, right? But what if I wouldn't have called you today and we wouldn't have had this one-on-one chat? We are not going to have this time. I'm not going to call everyone on one-on-one chat. You would have lost the opportunity. I would have lost a great talent, right? So I think it's more about even ramping up with confidence to feel. I think it's so important because of the challenges that we have faced over the years for generations. Women feel that we don't have enough room to fail and try and unlearn and relearn. And when we are saying scoping of the future, I really hope in future, we are not talking about women in tech or men in tech, or we are not having any of these panel discussions. We are having simple conversation, how we can elevate our positions, how we can elevate our careers. Simple as that, how we can make this world a better place. Because if we are talking about men or women being less representative, it's not normal. It's not a fundamental human right being placed. So I think it's less about organizations now and more about individuality and how women really need to ramp up, educate themselves constantly. Like Sophie said, like she's doing AI. And we are, I mean, our brains are the same, if not better. Come on. So just because we are women, like stop, every woman needs to stop thinking that we can't do this, we can't do that, etc., etc. We are not that good at math, etc., etc. And also, more so important, if you get here, remember there is a ladder you have to push down to pull others up. It's okay if some other woman is more successful than you. It's okay to go and ask her how you got there. Don't let the ego clashes come between you two. We all have to be together in this as allies, as a community. So that's what I wanted to add to you, Aisha, that it's less about the companies now, it's more about individual confidence.
Thank you, Priyanka. So she called you.
That's what I mean with young generation. This is
Exactly.
passion of the young generation, and that, yeah, that's what I mean. That we are coming, and with people like Bankai, compliments.
All right. So, Sofiane, can corporate strategies and structures support towards better integration and diversity? And do you agree? What can you share?
Totally. I can't remember who said in 1960 we were not allowed to work, which is true. And if you kind of look at it, I think the progress is tremendous. But very often we talk about the very large company and how they can really impact their organization, but also the ecosystem around their organization. We've been part of projects like the Accenture Vahini network, which was absolutely spectacular. It was started probably 10 years ago, started with a handful of women in India that work for Accenture. And I think they have over 80,000 men and women that are now part of the Vahini network. And it's purely on mentoring, training, and other issues, including issues that can be very sensitive and personal. And it's been absolutely phenomenal to see how actually everybody rallied. And since Accenture in India as a women CEO, and she's nothing more than, an impressive human being, period. What we see too is we're working with smaller clients who have these very fresh out of school young ladies coming in. And last week I had a call with them and they're like, well, we need a mentor. And I said, okay, hold on. How did you end up here? I love the comment Aisha made, which is I was not passionate about technology. I didn't even know what a job in technology meant. And I said, how did you end up here? Why do you like it? So one explained she loved being at the knob. The other one explained she loved being online and seeing rats. Another one says she finally can explain to her kid why, how it works when he's on his phone all the time. And I was like, okay, you're going to take that and you're going to go into your state's tech school or even high school. And once a month, you're going to explain what is a job in technology. My son just went to college and I literally called him and said, do they have a telecom class? And he's like, of course not, Mom. What is a telecom class? And I find that fascinating because part of the issue, which is more around inclusivity, not just diversity, is the fact that we don't talk about all the possibilities and opportunities within our industry. A lot of people say, if you're a woman in telecom, you must be in marketing. And I say, most of my friends, they're engineers, they're in finance, they're like in the back room, and without them, your network doesn't work. So, I think we need to kind of break all those bias and those perception and those misconceptions and, really look at the incoming talent and say, this is your time to be the multiplier. We've done a lot of talking. Now, if you have 10 young recruits, doesn't matter, men, women, whoever, go back to your school and explain what a job in telecom can be and all the different opportunities that is open. And immediately people will actually consider a career in our industry. So I think there's, it's actually interesting to see that this is actually just starting. we've gone through phases, but I think this is something that is really starting to set in. And it's setting in with the 20-year-old, the first time on the job. And what we need to do, regardless if we're been in the industry for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, is empower them, because they are the key to this multiplier where we won't have to have the discussion about representation. Because, you know, if they already, there's another thing. Our organization need to start, you know, salaries at the same level for men and women, and then increment will continue to build without any parity. And that's another thing we see, which is if you're an organization and there is a gap between, you know, women and men salaries, well, you know, it's probably very difficult to try to, you know, bridge the gap. But if you start without the gap, then you kill the discussion. So example are, you know, Salesforce, which probably empowers a lot of our companies. I've done a fabulous job. They did this one-on-one system, and they decided 1% of their equity, their product, and their employee hours will be dedicated to reverse and start empowering those gaps, regardless of what they are. And I think every company can make that decision. So it's empower the next generation, they are multiplier, and make sure that management, regardless of gender, understand the agenda and start taking those very simple initiatives. And I think then the conversation is completely going to shift on how to stop women.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Sophia, anything to add to that?
I would say that this talk about diversity is going very much into this Excel direction. This percentage and that percentage, women and men, and whatever splitting we are doing, I think that the company should not even have this split. That should not be even a topic. So we should talk about knowledge, expertise, working ethic, and fairly approach to choosing the best person for the best position in the company. So for me personally, I was never even thinking in my team how many ladies and how many guys we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how many people which will do the best job ever. And that is what is bringing the company on the higher level. So being completely neutral to gender, to religion, to color, to anything. I think we should talk about how big professionals they are. And making these Excels about how many women should fulfill the places, I think that it's not fair as well. Because at the end, the professionals are bringing the benefit to the companies, not the gender.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
And a comment on what Sabina.
The equal approach to everything. So I'm for the equal approach. And I see in Horizon, I never felt like a woman. I'm one of the team.
The best for the job.
I'm the best one for the position that I'm fulfilling. And that is how it should be.
No, and of course, and everybody knows this, but we are not that far yet.
Yep.
And that's actually what we're discussing here, is that how can we improve the world? I mean, you know, that should be in your mirror every day. How can I do better today? But I mean, you and I know the Horizon quite well. You know, you did already an amazing job, and naturally it went how it went. And I do understand that you say, you know, the best person, because we talk about persons here, whatever color, wherever you come from, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. The best first person for that job or for whatever position, you know. But still, we are in a world where the majority is not there yet. So
I am so glad you said that, Eric, because that's something I want to say. We are not there yet. That is exactly the normal I'm talking about, that we need to achieve that normal. But at Horizon, you are there where you are, and how you are is because you applied for that job and you went for that job and you got there. But the problem is, because if we stop talking about the numbers and the like specific women allotment or like diversity allotments, then people are not going to go to the school and be motivated to learn those skills and uphill those talent, knowing that there is room for them after they are done with those institutions for that role. Because all this while, what happened is many genders and races did not really educate themselves because they thought, anyways, I'm not going to get the job, so why as well? You know, might as well go to some other direction, even though they had a keen interest and ability to do it, right? So that is the reason I think number allocations are very important. And I think Sophie had a point to this too.
I think it starts with you, with yourself. We are all daughters, we are sisters, we are mothers, so we should educate our sisters, our children, our neighbors, and it starts with us. And I can talk about myself as a mother. If I will tell my daughter, stay at home, or don't do this, it's too difficult for you. No, I'm giving her more than her brother, because I have two, a son and a daughter, and I think she's more empowered than her brother. And if I will sit at home, then I will give them the wrong example. In the Netherlands, is quite normal that if you get children, it's everybody say, oh, how many days are you start to work? So and I was like, yeah, I'm going to work for 4 days. Why should I work 3 days? Because that's normal. And that's, I did that because of my daughter. I don't want her to see me sitting at home. And while I was officially working 4 days, I was actually working 5 days because I don't want to be less than my female or my male colleagues. So I'm a role model for her, and now she's over growing me. And so it's us.
No, yes, you're right. But my personal take on this one is because I'm Dutch. I know the Netherlands. I know because in Telco, we all talk about regulation and deregulation, right? Well, it was mentioned in the beginning, actually, as well. Governments should also support this. That means that if they have, from a political point of view, from a government point of view, they also encourage to everybody. Again, let's not only talk about women, but to everybody. But in this case, also to women, to support it, to finance it, and to make sure. And if they are clever, but that's really personal, if these guys are really clever, and guys, literally guys, because by the end of the day, who's going to pay our pension? It is not us guys. We need. So even if you don't understand the subject and the topic, and you don't get there for whatever reason, then just think in another way. And then you know that because there are many ways which lead to Rome by the end of the day, then that is also a thing. We need everybody, every single soul, men, women, whatever, doesn't matter, to be, to work, and to contribute to the society by the end of the day. But in the Netherlands, and that was actually my point, it is easier because the government supports this, and not in every country around the world it is like that. So it is that still a job to do. So coming back to your point as well. But ladies, I mean, look at the time. We're moving ahead, and I'm doing also some talking because I'm getting into the subject of, and by the way, I have 3 daughters, and my eldest, 26, is kicking ass to 300 people because she's CEO of a company, because she has the balls to kick ass. And
but sorry to interrupt you, but also for even I have a son and a girl and a daughter. But if I will educate my son that it's normal for a woman to stay at home, he will do that with his daughter and his wife.
It's the wrong example.
And that's exactly the sons are also such important as the daughters.
Exactly. So ladies, to wrap it up a little bit, what is your key message? And Aisha, if I may start with you, what would be your key message to the world?
I would say that diversity must not be seen as a project. It has to be about a sustained cultural and mindset shift, where everyone is welcomed and opportunity is open to all, regardless of a gender, of any other factors. Change needs to be systematic and coordinated, not in terms of the set of initiatives. My advice to, actually started from myself and to the whole, my you know, to hold beautiful women in this world, is to continue being true to yourself. You don't need to change to be accepted. You will learn respect of your accomplishment. You have to just have a passion. You educate yourself, speak up all the time, you know, to be successful in every industry, not only in the tech or telecom.
Thank you, Aisha. Susanna, any wise words?
Yes, I think we can see already that we are on the right way, that the topic of diversity has to become a matter of course, in terms like we don't have to explicitly talk about it as a topic because it's a matter of course. And I think it's all about the role model topic. We have it in mind. We are clear that we want to be a part of leading diversity to a matter of course, and we should continue really doing this. And my experience is, when I become clear, when I want something as a woman or a man, I have to go and ask for it and try to reach it. And this is what we should give our children and all the applicants for our teams and companies. We should give it to them and tell them to do this exactly. And my experience is, you get it. You get it if you really want it, and if you ask for it, not being influenced by any things you have been told that could mean anything different, like a mindset or educational stuff or something. So this is my takeaway from this.
Thank you very much, Susanna. And Priyanka, if I may ask you some famous last words, and your key message for everybody out there.
So while we are at it, I will try to emphasize on one aspect to bring in change every step of the way. That one moment we spare to talk to a women's query, or that 1 minute we spare to help someone take another step towards their dreams, matter. And while we are at it, I remember this famous quote from Frida Pinto once aptly said, gender equality is a human fight. It's not a female fight. And if you remember that, we're all going to win this together, and we'll end the fight once and for all.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, we really come to the end of the session, and I'll promise you, we're going to discuss more and more often on this one. Big thanks to let's say first the ladies in the house, virtually or live. So Sabina, thank you so much for being here and contributing and sharing your thoughts. Noah, big thank you. Sofiane, see you soon, right? Okay, so Aisha, thank you very much, and greetings to the lovely city of Muscat. And Susanna, dank je, thank you so much. Priyanka, thank you so much for your keynote speech. Thank you very much for sponsoring this session as well. Thank you for your passion, and to all of you, and my greetings to your father. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, and to the audience.
Goodbye.
Here.
Bye.
Thank you, Eric.
So thank you, everybody.
Everyone.
See you
Bye.
soon. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.